What's up YouTube, this is Carlos with Twins Reef, and this is the update on the Red Sea Reefer 300. If you guys watched my last video, I went to Corals Farmers Market, probably one of the best shows in the past years. And yeah, if you didn't watch it, you're welcome to go back to my videos and watch that. But today, the focus is on the Red Sea Reefer 300. On the last video, I didn't really show that much on what's been going on with this tank. So let's start right away with the corals that I had received from a local reefer. He was giving away corals. I got a bunch of them that were mostly all SPS because, you know, I've always wanted to keep SPS, but for some reason it's been really hard for me. But keeping these SPS, I started to notice some of them not doing so well. I also noticed the salinity levels were dropping. I remember having salinity levels from 7.8, 7.7, and they just started to drop to 7.1. One of the reasons was, you know, those corals were larger frags. Not only that, we have large polyp stony corals like LPS. I mean, of course, LPS, like Euphyllias, like hammers, torches. We have we just also introduced a scully. We have a apple bleeding scully. We have some acants. We have some goniporas as well. And lastly, we have softies like mushrooms. So that's one of the reasons why my alkalinity level started to drop. So I wasn't ready to dose because I didn't know that much regarding dosing. So I started to do large water changes weekly. Before, my water changes were you know, once every 2 weeks, and that wasn't helping. So I started to do them. Once I noticed alkalinity levels dropping, I was doing large water changes, probably 20 gallons every week, but that still didn't help. At most, it brought my alkalinity levels to like 7.4, but during the week they'll drop again. As I am recording, I am making water to do another large water change, but just recently I started to dose. I finally set up my reef dose, my Red Sea Reefer reef dose. One reason that was stopping me from dosing this tank, one was because I wasn't so sure how to dose. Two, I didn't have a dosing container. So what I did, I made my little DIY dosing container. This is a 7-gallon container. I bought this at Sam's Clubs. So basically all I did, just drill it, bought some little parts at Home Depot. Unfortunately, Red Sea forces you to use their little tubing, because if you were to use the 1/4 ones, it doesn't work, because the little fitting on the pump itself, it's only made for these special type of tubing. So that's what I did. That's what I'm doing. I'm dosing. I was dosing previously 10 mLs a day using the calculator with Alpha Reef. It's actually 15 mLs for this size of a tank. So I actually ended up just doing 15, and we'll see how that goes. I'm dosing once a day at 10 p.m. Once this dosing pump was calibrated, I made sure that the dosing pump was actually, you know, dosing what it's supposed to. One thing I like about the Red Sea app when it comes to the reef dose, that it keeps a little log. It tells you how much dosing went in that day, and you know, and then it also will notify you when you're running out of your dosing liquid, depending what are you using, Reef, Alpha Reef, or any other type of product to dose. So that's what's been going on mechanically. I set up the dosing pump. My pH, Milwaukee pH monitor has been fine. It's been at 7.8, sometimes at 8.1 when it comes to pH. For my return, I'm still using a J-Bell return pump. Wave makers, I am using my Ecotech MP40s. I finally decided to clean them because I noticed that the flow wasn't as intense as it was before. So I was holding back on cleaning them because I do have vinegar, but I've noticed that vinegar has actually ruined some of my equipment. So I went with citric acid. I basically soaked these overnight. The following day I just scrub them and rinse them off, and they're like new, and that's what I've been doing lately. So that's new. Now let's jump on to the corals. So we removed the corals that were on top, and I remember those corals that I received from Corals Farmers Market. I had them in this frag rack, and I finally placed them in the rockscape. What was holding me back from actually placing them in this tank or in the rocks right away, one, I had them get acclimated. When I first got them, I put them in the lower tier of the tank, then I brought them to where they were at before, and then after that I placed them in the rocks. But another reason why they were in the frag rack for so long was because I wasn't finished with my rockscape. I actually just added this piece of a rock, so there's like a little arch going here, gives me more real estate for placing my corals. As you guys can see, I know the camera's not gonna pick up the colors of these SPS, which I already forgot the name of them, so I have to go back to the messages to make sure what type of frags I have. I know one's a pink millie, the other one's a blue moray, and we have a forest digitata as well as a grafted montipora. But yeah, so I added this rock. Before that rock wasn't there, we basically had Euphilia down there. We had another hammer down there. I removed that hammer and I placed it to the front of the tank, but I wanted there to be more room for the SPS. So I gave them some room. I want them to grow, and I'm probably not gonna be adding no more SPS unless I get like a sweet deal with them. And then once I start seeing these do good, I traded these from a local reefer. I did had a aqua elimination access pump, which I had no use for it, and I think I received like 8 corals or 8 frags, all SPS, for that pump, which I think is a decent deal. I mean, the pump's worth like $200, I think. I didn't buy it, I actually got it for free. So yeah, whatever it is, what it is. Once these corals grow, hopefully, you know, that'll be the value of that pump. So I'm hoping they grow. So underneath this arch we have the GSP. I placed it here in the back. I think I'm just gonna leave it there and let it do its thing. That's probably gonna be the only coral I'm gonna leave here in this space. I'm gonna let these corals grow. We have here the hammers. They're all doing good, growing nice. This one's pretty new. We got that one. That one's a green stem with purple tips. We have another gold hammer. We have the Akens. They're doing good. That one right there, it's not doing so well, but it's doing better than before. This one's a rainbow Aken. This one's like a red to green Aken, and the other one back there is like a green one. I don't know if I'm able to modify the camera. Let's see. There you go. As you guys can see it right there. So that one's red, the other one's green, and this one's more like rainbow color. Another coral that we introduced was the bleeding apple scully. As you guys can see it in the back, they don't like that much flow or that much light. It's been doing really well. We also have right there a red discosoma that I don't know how it got itself there when the colony, it's all the way on this side. One thing, I don't know if you guys noticed, I have a bunch of epoxy holding the rocks because I don't want to mess up my rockscape. One thing, if I was to set up another tank in the future, I'll actually use some type of epoxy or coral cement to hold my rocks and my rockscape permanently. So I did that. I moved the rocks, I moved the scape a little bit. This rock was basically underneath this large shelf, and I actually moved it, introduced it, and it gives me a little bit of room. It looks pretty cool in person, more depth to the tank. I added the hammers that were back there where that rock is now. I placed them here, so we have a gold one, we have a toxic hammer, and yeah, all the hammers are basically in this area. They're all doing good. I don't think I'll be adding no more hammers unless I see like a good color one, and I'll probably move these somewhere else. But yeah, as you guys can see, it gives it some room. When you look at the tank or at the corals from the front or that rock, it looks like there's not enough space, but I think it clears about like 2 inches from the glass, so it gives them enough room. This area, I'm probably just want to have all my acants here. If acants don't do good, I'm probably just gonna get rid of them, and I don't know, probably have some scullies in this area. Fish, we still have my algae blenny, we have the fox face, we have dory or the blue hippo tang, and we have the gold nugget. A fish that was evicted from this tank was my black storm clownfish. Reason for that was he was dropping all my goniporas. So I had all my goniporas here on this side, and that black storm clownfish basically lived in this area where these mushrooms are at. So every time I would place the goniporas here, he would always knock them down, covering them with sand. So I got rid of him, and then my problem continued with my golden nugget maroon, because he started to do the same. So I don't know, for some reason they just didn't want these goniporas here. So as you guys can see, I was able to remove some of the goniporas that were down here, and I actually put them here, this rock right underneath this arch. So I have these goniporas. I got this from a local reefer that I bought a coral from him, from Corals Farmers Markets. So that one's from him, and I like it. It's pretty nice. Then we have the Abipora back there. So the goniporas are not doing so well. I think it's because they always get bothered drop covered with sand because of the clownfish. So I'm thinking of getting some type of little rock here and just gluing the goniporas there and just let them grow and let it be a little gonipora garden back here. The frag rack's empty. One reason these frag plugs are there, I don't know if you could tell, but in the base of them there is still some tissue of the former SPS that were there when I was detaching them. So I'm gonna let them grow and we'll see how they turn out to be. I also glued that grafted Montipora there on the side of this arch, and the idea there, guys, let me see if I could turn off the flow. So the idea there, I don't know if you guys could tell, but he has a lot of room to grow. So it's basically, I want that area to be covered. But now thinking about it, guys, if I was to do that, if I was to keep the goniporas there, it's going to block some of the light going to the gonipora. So that can be an issue, but that'll be something for me to worry in the future. We have the sun-kissed mushrooms that they started to multiply like crazy. I probably have about 5 sun-kissed just in this little mushroom cup, which I'm probably gonna move those or sell them. Golden gonzos are doing good. Supermans are doing good. A new mushroom that I got is this candy cane mushroom. It's doing really good. It's sort of like a bright orange with green in it. The Lactus finally decided to detach itself from the main frag disc where it was at after dropping a bunch of babies, and probably in that's probably like a 3-inch frag disc, and we have about 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 Lactus mushroom babies, and here's where the mom is at with another baby. But she's actually larger than that. The only reason why it shrunk is because there's a baby there and it doesn't want to cover it. But when I had just the Lactus by itself, it basically covered that whole 3-inch frag disc. Then red discosomas are doing good. I'm probably thinking of removing this rock right here. Probably this is the only rock that I haven't really put epoxy, so I'm able to remove it. I'm thinking of rescaping slightly this area, allowing like little caves just like the left side of the tank. So I'm going to probably move these mushrooms here and have like little area, more water flow through the tank, less debris in the sand bed. And it's gonna give me more room to add like at least one more torch on this side of the tank. If you're asking yourself where am I gonna put all these corals that I'm talking about removing, I actually set up a 20-gallon drop-off tank in my son's room. So that whole setup, they basically chose what type of fish that we are going to keep in that tank and what type of corals. So that's going to be a video for the future regarding their drop-off tank. It's really nice. I'll show you guys in another video. So that's probably going to go with them. The sun-kissed mushroom, the little cup, it might go with them. We'll see. The other corals that we received from Corals Farmers Market, this green tamer, I got that from Ricardo. That one's, or dragon tamer actually, that one's doing good. I like it, really healthy and nice. This one that I got from another local reefer, that the story with that one's gets me upset because I won it at an auction. Supposedly it was bright yellow gold, and when I received it, it was like this. And yeah, that guy sent me another coral that that looked like the one that I had first bought, but that one didn't make it. It died. So that's one thing you risk when people, you know, they get corals from the wild, from wholesalers. They don't acclimate them, and they end up dying once you receive them. But I mean, at least this one's doing good. I guess he gave me that one for free and sent me the actual one that I won in an auction, but that one didn't make it. This one looks like another dragon tamer, but the tips are different. It's doing really good. Again, the camera is not doing any justice to any of these corals or the tank itself, because I am using no filter, just custom light settings, and that's why here and there you can see me make the video lighter or darker. The jawbreaker is doing good, has like about 3-4 babies around it. Unfortunately, it's stuck to a rock, so you know I won't be able to frag those or remove those in the future. I want to get rid of these hairy mushrooms. I had bad experience with them where they had killed some akins that I had, especially that green one right there was basically dead, but I saw a little bit of life in it, so I kept it, and it has made itself back to life. But I had got rid of all hairy mushrooms, but I don't know how. There was 1 or 2 still there, and they grew. So it's basically probably part of the leg or the foot, and it just reproduced, and there it is. And I don't know when and how, but I'm going to remove those hairy mushrooms. They multiply like crazy. Not only that, they are pretty aggressive. For them to kill akins and candy canes and Duncans, and yeah, I gotta get rid of them. At least it's not bothering the discosoma, because I know the hairy mushroom is some type of Rhodactis mushroom. Another coral that I don't really like is this frog spawn. I used to like frog spawns. I had one before and it was really beautiful, but you know, they're all different type of strains of hammers and torches and frog spawns, but this one's not like the one I had. This one resembles more like an octo spawn, and I don't really like that type of style when it comes to the technicals. So I might remove this one and put it in the twins tank and just have all hammers here and then just let them grow. One thing that I have to be careful, I know some issue we want our tank to be filled with corals, but we also have to remember at one point these corals are going to multiply. They're going to become large colonies, and that's when we have issues with locating our corals, placing them, and you know, and room for them, But again, that's going to be another problem for the future. And yeah, so as you guys can see, you know, I had all the frags that were in the frag rack. They're all now in the rock scape. I forgot the name of them. They're not doing so well, but we're gonna give them time to acclimate, and I know they would do good. The other ones that I had before, they're doing good. I forgot the name for this one again, so I apologize, but that one's doing good. The bird's nest back there is also doing good. I remember when I first placed it in this tank, it was basically all brown, but like the guy from Worldwide Corals, Victor, had said, as long as it's brown, it has potential to come back to life, and that's how these bird's nests did. But when it turns white like this right here, then that means it's totally dead. So, you know, as long as the SPS is brown, then there's hope for it. So we're gonna give it more time to acclimate to this tank. I know once the community rises, the SPS are gonna like it. Euphilia, they're more easy to keep. LPS are more easy to keep. Softies, same thing. But again, there's people that they try to keep mushrooms, softies, and some reason they just melt, they die in their tank. So every system is different. There's always that one coral that a reefer wants, but it never does well in their tank, where they see another person that has a similar setup, but they do good in their tank. So hey, every ecosystem, every tank has its own ecosystem, and it's different than others. But yeah, this is it for today's video. I know I was all over the place. Quick overview of what we did. We set up the reef dose. We're dosing all for reef. I did use a DIY 7-gallon container, dosing 15 mLs, recommended by Alpha Reef for this size tank. I moved all the corals that I received from Corals Farmers Markets. I placed them in the rock. Most of them are SPS that I traded for a access pump. The ones that I actually bought at the show were these dragon tamers, which are doing good. One there, another one there. Another purchase from Corals Farmers Market was that Candy Crush mushroom, which is doing good. And this Ganipura that was given to me by Ricardo when I bought the dragon tamer that's back there. These Ganipuras here are still from the last Corals Farmers Market show. They're not doing so well. The Abripura either. The other Gani that I bought at my local pet store is doing good. One reason they're not doing good, because the clownfish, like, it's literally like every morning when I wake up, they're covered in sand, they're knocked down. So yeah, they're not doing good. But besides that, guys, there's nothing really new. We did add that Scully. That one was pretty new. I think I made a video on that one. We evicted, I don't know how to pronounce that word. We removed the black storm clownfish from this tank because he was making trouble. Now he is housed in the 20-gallon drop-off tank. But yeah, this is it for today. Appreciate you guys for watching. If you guys like this content, you guys are welcome to hit the like, comment your opinions down below, subscribe, and I'm out of here. Peace.